Pregame.com.
Friday night NBA at pregame.tv. It's the Kings at Memphis. Bryan Leonard's best bet on this one. And Bryan, these teams met less than a couple of weeks ago, and the Kings are blown off the court. I mean, Memphis put it to them, a 32-point winning margin, but the Grizz are in a tough spot. I'll let you talk about that.
Yeah, it's a situation here. You know me. I got to take that big highlight game of the night here. Sacramento hasn't covered a game since they talked about moving to Seattle. I like to play on teams that are struggling right now at home. They just had a home streak here of three games, I believe. Did not play well. Now they're going on the road. They've looked bad. They can't even beat bad teams at home. They couldn't even cover against Cleveland. I think they lost the game by half a point. Nobody wants the Kings right now. But if you go back and take a look at what the Kings had done before that on the road, they covered 3 of 4, won 2 out of those 4 games straight up. I think it's better for a team like this to go on the road. And I've got some other things I want to talk a little bit about here, and I'll do that in my final or in my close. That's for people who watched the videos last week.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. I know.
Last week's meeting was the first game back for Tyreke Evans, by the way. Yeah. So you couldn't really judge him or the Kings by that. He had missed a slew of games. But if you were just breaking down this on sheer talent, Marco, the Kings' lack of board strength, if Memphis is focused, which I tend to agree where Bryan's kind of leading here. If they were focused, they beat them up with their big front line, talking about Memphis. But you know how it goes. Half of the NBA is 90% situational. And thanks, Yogi.
And there are a ton of situations here. But, one of the intangibles of why Sacramento went on this losing streak is I heard they watched the video where Bryan just ripped apart the city of Sacramento. Right. And they're depressed that they're playing there now, that there's nothing to do.
Yep. They got my picture on the wall at the post office.
Yeah. I don't think you should go to any Sacramento King games.
He's not too popular in Toronto either if you remember.
But you look at this game and you talk about that first meeting, and the one thing you didn't mention is when they played Memphis in that first meeting, it was the first game back home for Sacramento from a long East Coast road trip. And I don't like these teams, that first game back home. And we keep seeing it, time and time again. These are winning more than they're losing, and Memphis took advantage of it and beat the snot out of them in that game. But now you've got Sacramento going on the road, and I think this is a look-ahead spot for Memphis. I don't know which way you're going, Bryan, but you've got Memphis, and you look at some of the games that they just come off of. They played, first of all, Memphis played 6 games in 10 days to start 2013. All 6 of those games were in different cities. They played 1 at home, and then they went on the road, so a lot of travel. Come back home, and then they had a 4-game stretch where they played the Spurs twice, the Clippers, and Dallas. And now you're playing Sacramento. How do you get excited about Sacramento, especially a team coming from that city? I mean, there's nothing there.
We're all banned.
Well, anyway, the mayor of Sacramento has the best bet on this one, so let's get to it.
All right. Well, for all those Sacramento fans who just love us here, I am going to be on the Kings here. And by the way, with all the snot talk here, Kleenex, if you want to sponsor the show, more than glad to have you. And Marco touched on this. You take a look at the games that Memphis has just played. Not only did they play Western Conference teams, they played teams that are going to be in the playoffs, the Golden States, the San Antonios. Now they're playing a Sacramento team that they just beat by 32 points, and they've got Chicago, Indiana, and the Lakers on deck. So this is a game right here that Memphis has bigger fish to fry. You're playing a team you just crushed. Sacramento showed nothing at home. Nobody wants them. They go on the road here. I think Memphis wins the game, but Sacramento plus the points is the way I'm going to go on this one.
Well, there you go. Bryan Leonard is not on Memphis. He's on Sacramento, plus the points for his best bet on Friday. When we come back, it's Ohio State, Michigan State. It's a play from Marco's Saturday college basketball. Stick around for that and more right here at pregame.tv.